SpongeBob SquarePants. Ever since 1999, SpongeBob has grown in popularity, from starting out as another Nicktoon to Nickelodeon's unofficial mascot. Everyone knows who SpongeBob is. Even if you were one of those kids whose parents wouldn't let them watch it, you have probably seen SpongeBob's face on a backpack, smiling at you, laughing at you. Most discussions about SpongeBob seem to agree that the show slowly went downhill after the movie. While I don't believe modern SpongeBob is an insult to mankind and the animator should be thrown in jail, however, it's safe to say that the show has passed its golden age. Now, SpongeBob has released a couple of specials here and there. Some good, some bad, some but there's one special that's uniquely bad. Season 9, SpongeBob You're Fired. An episode not only got bashed by fans, but real-life organizations as well. Now, funny enough, I saw this episode as a kid. At the time, I thought it was a fine enough special. I didn't know about the controversies that surrounded it. So, start up your paddy wagons and let's take a look at SpongeBob You're Fired. How not to make a special. The episode starts off pretty simple. It's a normal day at the Krusty Krab. SpongeBob's grilling Krabby Patties as usual, until Mr. Krabs appears, announcing he's fired. Now, what would be the reason for this? I mean, it would be a pretty risky move to fire your only fry cook. It's because Mr. Krab wants to save a nickel. That's why. Now listen, Mr. Krabs has always been portrayed as a greedy businessman, or a crab. But him firing SpongeBob out of the blue, someone who he deeply values, feels forced. In other episodes, at times, it shows he deep down cares about SpongeBob. Here, Mr. Krabs doesn't give him any sympathy. I know SpongeBob's an episodic comedy cartoon. It doesn't care about consistency. I'm not expecting in-depth storytelling from SpongeBob of all places. People probably would have brushed this mischaracterization off if the episode was funny. It's not. Without a job, SpongeBob returns home absolutely miserable. Patrick shows up to listen to SpongeBob talking about how he's unemployed. But Patrick sees it in a different way.
I'll tell you what, meet me tomorrow morning and I'll introduce you to the wonders of the unemployed lifestyle.
The next day, SpongeBob looks like he's 2 steps away from having a midlife crisis. He and Patrick spend the next 3 minutes bumming around finding the joys of unemployment, including bugging Squidward, lying on a rock, playing League of Legends. However, none of these seem to cheer up SpongeBob, which leads us into our next issue. Take what I said about Mr. Krabs being mischaracterized, apply that to SpongeBob, and make that even worse. SpongeBob throughout Act 1 acts completely differently from his usual self. He feels like a completely different character or some weird parody version. Now, would he be upset about losing his job? Yes. But would he drown in his own misery and become basically dead inside? No.
I'm afraid I can't do this anymore, Patrick. Unemployment may be fun for you, but I need to get a job.
The whole point of SpongeBob as a character is that he's an optimist who tries to see the bright side of everything. So turning him into a miserable person doesn't work. The episode really wants you to believe SpongeBob's whole purpose in life is centered around a fast food restaurant. Like, did they forget he has other hobbies outside of the Krusty Krab? Now, this conflict could have worked if they focused on SpongeBob trying to survive without a job, but that's never brought up once. So you're just left with poor characterization and the will to switch to Cartoon Network. Patrick and SpongeBob arrive at Sandy's dome as she commits health code violations. Sandy notices SpongeBob, who tells her he lost his job. Sandy gives SpongeBob enough motivation to start looking for a new job, ending Act 1. Act 2 is where things start to speed up. SpongeBob's first job is at Weenie Hut, not Weenie Hut Jr. or Super Weenie Hut Jr., but he immediately gets fired when he cooks weenie patties instead. The rest of the scene follows a similar setup. SpongeBob gets hired at a restaurant, but later gets fired. SpongeBob goes home and feeds Gary, but then he hears a knock at the door and gets kidnapped. The kidnapper in question was the hot dog manager from before. Turns out SpongeBob's cooking was a hit with customers, and now he's forced to cook for them. Forever. But to SpongeBob's luck, he gets freed by another food manager. This later evolves into the food managers fighting over who gets to keep SpongeBob. All the while, he tries to escape them.
Stop! Unhand that sponge!
A Krabby Patty mascot swoops in and saves SpongeBob. The mascot returns him to the Krusty Krab. Turns out the Krusty Krab can't function without him, so Mr. Krabs sent out Squidward to go get him back. The episode ends with SpongeBob getting rehired and going back to serving Krabby Patties.
And to make up for that extra nickel I was losing, I installed a paid toilet.
Oh dear, where is that nickel? Now we dance. We dance.
So that was SpongeBob, You're Fired. This special was pretty disappointing. To give credit where credit is due, I do kinda like the second act. Unlike the first act, things actually happen. The scene where the bosses fight over SpongeBob is pretty entertaining on how chaotic it gets. There were a few gags I thought were funny. I have to give props to
Mark Ceccarelli and Luke Brookshire
for storyboarding. However, these don't entirely save the episode. Outside the poor characterization, there's one more issue that makes this episode borderline unwatchable. The pacing. What do I mean by that? The average SpongeBob episode or segment is 11 minutes long. SpongeBob You're Fired is around 22 minutes long, aka a whole episode. And the consequences of it is scenes will drag out for way too long. For example, SpongeBob bumming around and doing whatever with Patrick takes up forever, and the part where SpongeBob feeds Gary doesn't serve any purpose, and is just there to pad out the episode. If I had to take a guess, SpongeBob You're Fired was probably a normal episode, but Nickelodeon forced them to make it 22 minutes long in order to get a sweet ratings trap. It was a missed opportunity that there wasn't a B-plot with Mr. Krabs trying to be a fry cook. Instead, we get SpongeBob crying for 3 minutes. I don't believe making it 11 minutes long would have saved it. It would have at least made it more tolerable to watch. 3 out of 10. Good premise, bad execution. Hey, we're not done with this special yet, cause now it's time to get political. Nickelodeon did a good amount of effort to promote it, even creating a flash game around it. All this would catch the eye of the
Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program
and other news outlets, criticizing its portrayal of unemployment. On the other side of the spectrum, Fox News and the New York Post praised it for its alleged agenda against the social safety net. I don't know how they got that idea. It clearly paints Mr. Krabs in a bad life, but whatever. Mind you, this wasn't the first time SpongeBob has been on Fox News for a similar stupid reason. A few years before this, they got up in arms over a book about picking up trash.
What happened July 20th, the Department of Education invited a bunch of DC kids in, and they had this festivity, and they handed out these particular Nickelodeon books where clearly Nickelodeon is pushing a global warming agenda.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
Nickelodeon would respond with,
like our really great cartoons, part of SpongeBob's long-running success has been its ability to tap into the zeitgeist while still being really funny for our audience. As always, despite this momentary setback, SpongeBob's eternal optimism prevails, which is always a great message for everyone.
Me, personally, I don't believe there's any agenda with this SpongeBob episode. SpongeBob being unemployed isn't about welfare checks, it's for plot conveniences. Maybe you could argue it has something to say about labor rights, although that could be a stretch as well. SpongeBob You're Fired, in my opinion, is very underwhelming. From the writing and pacing, it's just there to fill up time slot. A special showing what not to do. If there's any SpongeBob episode or special you would like me to cover next, please recommend them in the comments. I am Cuppy. I'll see y'all next time.
How can you you serve this slop? I'm never eating here again.